Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for coming out or being online. And we'll call the meeting to order. And we have everyone, which is awesome. First time in a while. So we'll go right to the land recognition. Anna, you were up for the Indigenous statement. You have
Sure,
it?
I can read it. I'll just need a second to pull it up in front of me if that's okay.
That would be awesome. Thank you.
And where can I find it? My apologies.
It would be on our website under locations. I believe there's a statement under there.
Okay, just bear with me then.
I would have thought you would have memorized it by now.
Oh gosh, getting there. Ours is very different, I'll be honest with you.
Yes, it is.
So under the website it's where? Sorry, Matthew?
It should be under locations. Hours of
Location.
About us.
under the About Us.
Wonderful. Okay, the Sault Ste. Marie Public Library is a gathering place where community comes together to share stories, to explore new ideas, and to gain knowledge of the past. It is through this unique position in our community that we support and promote truth and reconciliation with Indigenous peoples. We acknowledge with respect that we are in the Robertson Huron Treaty Territory, that the land we are on, which we are gathered, is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe and is known as Boating. Boating is home of Ketsigabee, Garden River First Nation, Batchewana First Nation, and the historic Sault Ste. Marie Métis Council. The library and we as individuals have a deep desire to bring about change in our community and move forward together as diverse and inclusive peoples. We are dedicated to honoring Indigenous history and culture and are committed to moving forward in the spirit of reconciliation and respect. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah. Number two, any declaration of conflict with the business of the day? Declare now or when it comes up if you use it. Hearing none, I need a motion for approval of the agenda.
I have an addition to the agenda
Okay,
that just recently came up. It's regarding US tariffs.
so where do you
It's
want to put
regarding
new
US
business?
New business.
What's
Books and electronics.
So 13.1 will be US tariffs. That's good enough. Anything else? Any other additions? Hearing none, I need a motion to approve. Steve, you had your hand up.
Yes,
Mike was trying to. Any opposed to the motion? Agenda is approved as amended. We have no delegation. Chair's report. I don't really have much. Been meeting with OLBA, Ontario Library Boards Association, and figuring out how they fit into the scheme of things. Been interesting. Another dimension to the library world that I didn't really have much knowledge of, and I've expressed that. So been a pretty steep learning curve to see how we fit into that organization. They organize the boot camp every year at Super Conference, and other than that, I didn't know much about their everything involved. So I'll bring you more news when I have more news. Okay. And I think that's it for my report. So we'll move on to the consent agenda. You'll notice that 6.3, 6.2, 3, and 4 have been removed. We didn't have a finance meeting this past month, so we'll do it in open session today. So the other items, anyone need anything removed?
Well, I don't need anything removed, but does this include the facility planning topics as well as
It's just
from the finance committee?
It's just the reports there. So there's no facilities discussion.
Finance, but there is no report. Right, because there wasn't a meeting.
No, there was no meeting. So
there's nothing to report.
There's nothing to
on the facility. Okay. No decision to be made on the facility, please.
Yeah, I can't open this. Opening.
That's nasal flooding. Come on, Matthew.
No flooding so far.
Touch wood when you say that.
This was in the consent agenda. Yes.
Yes.
I didn't see it on the list.
So that was outgoing the congratulatory letter to Chris Scott.
Yeah, that I saw. Oh, you sent this with
And
it?
that's an attachment with it. So it's the total for an Ontario Library. So she's some priorities for the government that
Okay,
they sent.
thank you.
So it's information for Mr. Scott.
Okay. So I'm thinking we'll do the financials now and then we can do all the motions.
I just have a couple things from the minutes. It wasn't opening here for me.
Sorry.
On the minutes, there's just like a sentence that's repeated.
Oh.
It can be removed.
Yeah.
I did.
So int,
Yeah, I'm looking for it. 1 second. But here we go.
oh, what was never
Oh,
in.
yeah.
the
Yeah.
Building.
And I was also wondering
Maybe.
about the first sentence in that paragraph, but
What was never- Would
Those,
that be under La Hoopla?
no, it's
Yeah.
above.
That's
It
true.
is above though. It's under 9 point.
Oh, mold and sheet
Yeah.
information items.
9.1. It's there, but it shouldn't be under hoopla. And I
Yeah.
was curious about whether that first sentence we want to keep it in or not, but that's fine.
I love the sentence though.
I do too, but
Unless,
we'll
What was-
modify the.
yeah,
thanks, Lucas.
Yeah.
All right,
So we'll need a motion to approve the minutes.
so financials.
Oh, we have a motion.
Don't we do it all at the end? Well, we got the whole list of motions. Definitely go that way.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay. And then we can just include the motions for finance as well. at that time. Okay, Joanne,
Hey everyone.
you're on.
First thing in the financials is the monthly expenditure report for February 2025. We're all gonna be reading it off our own screen, sorry. Nothing out of the ordinary there. The only thing that is a little bit new is the postage refill. Usually we don't pay via EFT, but I was able to this time, it was much easier. No check registers over 100,000. Closest thing is 95, and that was payroll. And then for December, this report might be a little bit wonky because I've done quite a bit of the year end already in it. So depreciation is reflected in it. I didn't realize prior to doing it that depreciation was included in this report. I thought it would specifically be expenses, budgeted expenses. So it does show a deficit there, but you have to keep in mind that I haven't cleared the capital assets in this one because that's our collections and some of our R&M stuff, our overall expenses. So after all the adjustments, we will end up with a surplus again. I'm going to speed through it just a little bit, go down to the library administration account balances. We ended up 100% on the first grant batch. Stop me if anyone has any questions, sorry. Very close on. The only thing that's a little bit different is our NOHFC grant. This only reflects what we've received, and that was up through November 28th. We still have the month of December that we're waiting to receive in 2025. Friends of the Library sales, again, over $42,000, which they do a wonderful job. Our donations, again, these are adjusted for what we've spent in this year. Our actual donations for 2020, restricted donations for 2024 was around $38,000. The rest of it was deferred to carry over to the following year. Our investment, as we've heard a couple times in the Finance Committee this year, has been above and beyond what we've expected at 525%. It's quite a bit. The employee future benefit and the surplus prior year, those are both accounting entries that are reflected on this. Our administrative salaries, we saved about $61,000 between some retirements we had this year, some vacancies, and some level differences. So that was pretty substantial. Going through everything else, there's not too many things that are really out of whack. Our postal service does reflect 317%, but the original budget is $100, and that's because I was trying to sort of feel out how much we would have for this year to enable the budget for next year. Other professional fees, those are consulting fees. We did go a bid over that budget. As some of you guys might remember, we originally reallocated money from there to take care of the accessible doors. We didn't end up going over budget with that reallocation. Miscellaneous administrative fees, again, that $1,000 was just a placeholder. Pretty dead on with our furniture and fixtures, our computer equipment and the software as well. Stop me if I'm going too fast or if I'm going too slow. Our merchandise sales, I budgeted a little bit high for that. We didn't end up selling as much as I had expected, but these were pretty lofty goals to set. The rent for both of the program rooms here at the main branch is continuing to recover after COVID. So they keep surpassing what we budgeted for them. Our salaries, we ended up again underneath what we budgeted. And our books and periodicals, we came out at 98%. Any overages or underages are carried forward year to year between those. So we carried over a bit of money into this year. Water and electric, we had some small savings in natural gas, nothing super substantial. Pretty close again on the office expenditures. We were at 80%. Just lots of little savings adding up across the different lines. Maintenance and alterations came out to 94% of what our budgeted total was, including our issue in the summer and lots of emergency repairs. So that was kind of a relief. And then I'm just going to keep speeding along. North Branch again. North Branch continues to exceed what we budgeted for revenues. The program rooms are very popular, membership fees, and then this year the Friends of the Library have also started selling books there. I think in October-ish. It was towards the end of the year, and they've already sold $325 worth of books, which is substantial when they're $1 a book. Their salaries are just a little bit over at 103%, so reflecting about a $9,000 increase or additional expenditure. Office expenses are at 58.6%. There's not too much money that we spend up there with their new facilities. They do tend to spend less on their collections. We always carry over more and more money for the North Branch than we do the main branch. So I think this year we're focusing more on developing the collection up there and spending some of that carry forward money. And everything else pretty much 100% on, nothing too crazy with it. So, any questions, anything about that? Okay.
Oh, I'm excited. Good. Kitchen, sorry.
Yeah.
I missed something there. In the library admin, you said donations for 500%. I just want to clarify, and I either didn't hear you right or.
Library administration. This is our restricted donations. I had originally budgeted for around $6,000 of restricted donations.
Okay, I think we're looking at it. I think.
I'm on
library admin.
I am too. Are you on December
looking-
31st? It's at the very top, the third line down.
December 31st, yeah.
Yep.
So I go down to donations, but I'm more concerned, I'm more interested in what is the other income that we budgeted for 16 and we ended up with 8. That's the 500% of it.
Oh, that is our investment income.
Okay,
So that little account there is 7201-5847. We budgeted $16,000 of investment income, and due to the entrance rates, we received $84,059 of income.
good job.
So our sundry revenue is made up of a couple different weird things: projector rentals, boardroom rentals, little things that we don't have specifically.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Clarify. Any other questions, Catherine? Anyone online, you'll have to either raise your hand or speak up.
Nothing from me.
If nobody wants to give her a hard time, just a little bit. Where's that money? All right.
And that's KPMG will be back at some point, probably close to the summer, after the summer break, to do their presentation.
So is this a year-end total or are we? Is this like a year-end
Yeah.
reckoning? It is, okay. Question. Yeah, thank you. Awesome, good job.
Thank you.
Well done.
If there are no further questions. Why?
We got January's in here too, but they're pretty straightforward, but
There are no further questions. So you can relax and thanks Steve and the chair of this committee for letting us bring it to the board. There were a few absences and there wasn't a heavy agenda tonight, so I thought we could once in a while to bring the whole thing here and everyone gets to listen to Catherine explain the financials. Okay, if you have any summary motions for the loss.
Summary of motions.
That's fine. Sorry, they're looking this up.
Meeting, right?
Yeah, I know, I just had it. Yeah. Hold the fort for there, 1 sec. Yeah.
Well, there's a motion there for.
I'm gonna find the page.
I leave it out.
Oh, yeah.
on page 57.
57.
It's right after all the policies.
That's really very wrong.
Oh, no. Hang on.
Here it is.
No, I'm gonna find it. There we go. All right, so summary of motions. That's why we don't do
I appreciate it. We're all
paper
good on
anymore.
one.
So the first motion, Sault Ste. Marie Library Board approves the minutes as amended from February 24th. Second motion, the expenditures for the month of February 25, including wage benefits and RBC visa in the amount of $256,198.83 be confirmed paid. Third motion, Sault Ste. Marie Public Library Board approves the financial reports ending December 31st, 2024 as presented. Fourth motion, the Sault Ste. Marie Public Library Board approves the financial reports ending January 31st, 2025 as presented. Number 5, the Sault Ste. Marie Library Board accepts the policy committee report of March 4th, 2024 meeting as presented. Number 6, the following revised policies be approved as presented. Delegations of public participation, fundraising, donations, sponsorship, sales and soliciting, terms of reference for naming libraries policy. And so, Sault Ste. Marie Public Library Board approves the consent agenda. I need a mover. We haven't heard from Lisa. And second, Kevin. Thank you. Any comment or further on the motion?
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Sure.
The motion to approve the minutes as amended is being included in the consent agenda.
He just did the summary of motions, so he grouped all the motions together, so we won't consider consent. It'll be absent.
Okay. Either way, it's done.
Just procedurally.
Yeah,
We'll do a summary of motions,
okay.
and then, but it won't be part of consent.
Fair enough. I understand.
And they are as amended.
Yeah. Okay, so. Oh yeah, we have a motion on the table. Any opposed to the motion? Motion is passed. Right along. Business arising from the minutes, there is none. Information items, we are at 9.1. Matthew and I are going to City Council on April 7th to present the annual report. And Matthew's going to be doing, we only have like 3 minutes, so it won't be long, Matthew, and, I'll be Bannon, here's Matthew, and, you know, yeah, we're not asking for money, so we should be well received, and, but I think the board thought this was a good direction, that we get in front of council and let them know how we're, supporting interests for the taxpayers of Sault Ste. Marie, so never a bad thing. Yeah.
No, just that it was actually part of our strategic plan too, to get in front of council more often and to show them the good work that we're doing, especially with our.
Which brings us to 9.2, unless there's any comments, sorry.
Well, are we
9.1.
giving them a copy of our annual report?
Yes, we've already,
Like a paper copy?
we've given a copy, digital copy to the clerk's office already, which will be included in their packages.
Oh, okay,
And then we're also doing a small slide deck.
okay.
Anything else? I
Thank you
expect
for
to see you
doing that.
there, Jamie.
No, I'm glad you're doing that. I think it's a great idea.
Absolutely. Thank you. 9.2, book challenge, Matthew.
Yeah, we did receive a book challenge, and according to our collections development policy, they typically would come to the board for review. However, this was filled out anonymously and wasn't filled out completely. So in discussion with Wayne, the board chair, we decided that because it was an incomplete request for reconsideration, that we would leave it up to my discretion. And so we've decided to retain the book. There are Moms Way Worse Than You in its current collection. And but we have logged it in with the Center for Free Expression's Canadian Library Challenges database. It's a database where you can, as a public library, submit books that are challenged or banned, and programs and book displays as well. And it's a way for Canadian libraries to get a sense of the kind of environment and see who's challenging what and what the results are from it. And especially with a lot of the challenges happening in the US and changes in legislation down there, it's become even more important that we keep our eye on this, because there's been a steady increase of challenges to various books. This one wasn't so bad compared to some challenges that we had in the past.
Yeah, Matthew did call me about this, and like we could have disregarded it because it was anonymous. That was the big issue first of all, because we have no way of following up. But at the same time, Matthew gave it consideration, and you know, as to see if there's any validity to it. Move the book to a different section. Yeah, because we're not in the book banning business. So, but it was dealt with. Yeah, I think we dealt with it efficiently.
I did attend a library CEO meeting fairly recently too, and book challenges and book bans was a topic of discussion. One of the things that some library CEOs suggested is shoring up your policies related to this and making sure that only members of your library are the ones who can challenge too, because some other libraries have been getting requests for reconsideration from people outside of their community and even outside of the country. So
When you say members, meaning card carrying?
carrying members, or at least community members.
So it's community members then. You don't have to have a library card?
It's not in our policy right now, but
So in the policy right now, it's card carrying?
no.
Oh, it's not, okay,
It's open,
okay,
but it is a recommendation that
right.
it should be limited to at the very least your community, so that you don't have a small minority who is very loud in other
Yes.
communities trying to push political
Agendas.
agenda.
Whatever, Jeff.
For sure.
That's good. Freedom of information. Board development came up at the last meeting, a number of acronyms. Jamie found this one, the template to help us. with figuring them all out. There's no tests today, but there's quite a few on there, and there's more invented every day.
I didn't even know some of them.
Yeah, so appreciate that. Anything on that? That handy? Don't you leave a copy on it? For the future reference. Of the brochure. Just
Maybe we can print out a copy.
Yeah.
Or it's
Yeah, because they come up from time to time. Accreditation, accreditation. Yep, I said it right. For self-assessment, Matthew?
Yeah, I just wanted to give an update on this. It's almost been a year since we really started looking at it and doing it. We did our last self-evaluation on it. And I wanted to show that we did make some progress, but there are still a couple mandatory items on here that we haven't achieved yet. I think the greatest challenge is probably going to be the job description part. We are going to be updating our job descriptions as part of the pay equity process, but we're still in the very early stages of that. I have some thoughts on how we can do the Indigenous awareness reconciliation in the next few months. The technology planning collection kind of longer. And we're going to be working on some formal evaluation. In community consultation, we will be doing the Library Bridge Project surveys, so that'll help us hit those ones. But right now, just looking at the schedule for the year, I don't know if we will be able to actually accomplish all the mandatory things by the end of the year, especially the job description. So we'll have to see, but I recommend that we just revisit this with the idea that we keep working on, and we have, I think there was at least 2 of the mandatory items that we didn't have at the Q&A. So we've made progress, but there's still a bit of progress to do before we reach out to the council.
Any question? Any comment? Yeah, support? Any ideas?
I have a couple of questions.
You're on.
The community consultation line, where it says community members are consulted regularly concerning library service. Is that your statement or is that the guideline that community members are supposed to be consulted?
They're supposed to be consulted on.
So you're going to consult them in April, this April, like tomorrow? Kind of,
in April is first the staff survey, and then May is the public survey.
So this year we were doing that.
Yes, and they have them set up to do on an annual basis as well.
Okay,
so
perfect.
That's the regular.
Yes.
And then we're also looking at doing other things for feedback process as well.
Yeah, because
in addition
that's
to that.
not happening. We didn't even do that during we didn't do focus groups during this strategic plan. The bridge is only technology though, isn't it?
Big part of it. I haven't looked at a full survey yet.
No. Is it
I'm
on
waiting
your
for them
radar,
to-
Matthew?
It's on my radar. No,
The answer to that one, but is it, are you
it's
planning
being
on?
released tomorrow, so that's.
Okay,
Look at this first one and stuff.
thank you.
Anyone
So
else?
I'm sorry, Wayne, is there in your mind a plan to bring what we're missing to the policy committee to
One of the
fill in
things,
some of the mandatory stuff?
one of the things with, especially with the Indigenous one, like the library board to add official statements to policies. So a statement on intellectual freedom, a statement on Indigenous services, a statement on accessibility. So it would be our commitments to
So
those
then
jurisdictions.
that statement would be followed by procedures at your end from your staff,
Yeah, it would be followed by operational stuff.
operational staff?
Yeah, so we would be, in addition to policies, we'd have a commitment statement that would say, the Sault Ste. Marie Public Library is committed to supporting our Indigenous community and partners.
By doing A, B, and C,
And
yeah,
And that will help us, get some of this stuff and also help some meetings. And I don't want it just for the Indigenous part,
No.
because there's a number of other things like accessibility. Legislatively, we have to have one on health and safety, we do have a policy, but just, having our commitments built, laid out. And OLS, has a, great number of templates for a number of communities as it is.
so I guess my other perpetual question is, what, in this list is what could the board do to make this happen?
These,
Is that, I mean, just in terms of policy, is that as far as we're going with it, or?
yeah, policy is a big one. I mean, collection plan, technology plan is very operational. I do, I do have the collections librarian starting on a collection.
Yeah, actually, I would love to see a draft of that at some point.
For early stages.
So would you?
Early stages.
Okay, well, that's long overdue, in my opinion, yes, okay.
Same with we've had technology plans in the past, it really just,
Oh, yeah, yeah, you've been through like 3 managers since then, yeah.
yeah, so I mean, kind of starting from scratch on that one. The form evaluation process, there's some, programs and stuff that are currently being evaluated already. It's, trying to figure out how to evaluate some of those other things and, thinking about maybe creating a blank, formal evaluation form that's on a poster, and if somebody's at a story time, and just
Oh, yeah.
using QR code
That's a good
and
idea.
link to it. So that's one of the ideas I pulled from the conference that I recently attended back in January. So there's some things like that that I would like to implement in the coming months. It's just,
Were we gonna do a
pitching it.
diversity audit? Did you talk about that?
yeah, that's also on the agenda for the collections. So,
Oh, it's part of the collection plan? Okay.
well, yeah.
Mm.
So we've got that starting. It's just we have to decide on criteria, but we've been doing research and preparing for the diversity audit. So,
Good, cool.
but that's more of a strategic plan action item and less of a accreditation.
Oh, is it? Okay. So then your overall reality is that you're looking at doing the accreditation in 2026. So we have to continue to put that in the budget for next year, or have we already? I don't know.
It's not very expensive.
It's not $200, I think, isn't it?
It's not something,
Pretty
it's something we
low.
can easily absorb. In
Yeah,
our
okay.
operation budget, so I'm not concerned about setting money aside for it.
Okay.
Katrin might have different opinion, but I think $200 is.
Well,
You can
from
figure
us, I don't know whether you need, that decision. No. Okay, good. All right.
No, it's well within my spending.
Perfect.
You good, Jim?
I'm done.
Anyone else? Question? I'd like to see this wrapped up in time for super conference, and the only real roadblock, I think, is the job description. And if you need more time, you need more time, so be it. I'm just wondering, I don't know how you reached, it talks about pay equity. Was that defined in, like, how did you come up with?
So we have to update the job descriptions anyway for pay equity.
Okay, so you're making the time, because when
They're not tied to each other, but we have to do it for this and we have to do it for that. So
and that, I just want to make sure we're not overcomplicating it, like, if you almost annually you're doing job description, look through, like, you're reviewing when you do your performance appraisal. You've added another dimension with the bid?
it's
I think I'm trying to make sure that
there are some job
we're
descriptions.
exceeding the goal, I think is what I'm getting
There are a couple of job descriptions that are about 20 years old. And so they haven't been updated in a very long time. I have worked on those and I have updated drafts from